Ba ba da ba ba da ba da.
Put it in the books, in the history books.
Waiting is Jones. The Mets are the world champions.
In there, strike three called. He got him with a slider.
LFGM. Let's go.
Let's go indeed, boys. Maximil, Jakey, how we doing?
Doing well, ready to get this going.
Doing fine on this Sunday afternoon.
Hell yeah, I'm pumped. Well, let's dive right into it. We're gonna talk some Mets baseball this afternoon. First off, gonna start off a little tradition. During this pod, we're gonna kind of pop some beers open. Just want to go around the horn quick. Jake, what are you drinking?
Let me see if I can get the nice sound of the bottle opening.
Oh,
Did that come through?
top the top.
I got myself a little cerveza today, a little Pacifico.
Ooh,
And
Oh,
figure it's worth mentioning, I got the coaster to match too. A little Pacifico coaster as well.
muy bien. Absolutely.
Their commercials give us the feels too.
Goosebumps.
I think they're like spreading ashes in their commercial. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
Max, what are we drinking, kid?
We got Purple Haze. Not sure about this one. Raspberry Lager. I saw that as I was scanning it. And the lady who was checking IDs is a little cranky, so that's all right. That's all right. Not the best choice for the first one, but
I gotta ask you, did the packaging draw you in? Was it the packaging that drew you in?
it's pretty neat.
It's cool packaging. That's why, yeah.
And the man, what do you got?
Honestly, I'm a little stumped that you still get your ID checked at 24. I don't know.
With that nice beard too.
I know. I got the.
So I'm gonna try and get mine in the recording too.
I just heard a fart sound.
Yeah.
I don't know what that
We got
sounds.
some Roscoe beer. Oh, it's white. That's why. Two-headed stout. So this is an upstate brew. Highly recommend.
All right. Cheers. Let's go Mets.
Cheers, boys. Cheers.
LFGM.
Happy first pod.
We want to start it off with some of like our origin stories here with our fandom. So a little bit about why we became fans and then just ultimately how that road led us into this podcast. So anyone want to start us off?
I'll get it going.
Yeah, Jake.
So I grew up in a household of Yankees fans. And obviously we grew up like late 90s, early 2000s when they were like at their peak. So when I was first introduced to baseball, I was watching the Yankees and I didn't really have a say in it. And there was a point around like 05, 06 where I was like, you know what? I want to go against the grain. Let me go with the other New York team. So I basically made a switch when I was like 4 years old and just fell in love, even though there wasn't that much to fall in love with. But nobody can tell me that I'm not a dedicated Met fan when I had all the riches and I was like, screw that. I want the underdog.
I'll tell you what, and that's one of the exact same reasons that I became a fan. And I know the same thing about Dan, but it would have been very easy for people our age, we're 23 and 24, to just hit that Yankee stride and be a lifelong fan of the Yankees and have it easy. But we definitely went against the grain, and we have had brutal seasons as fans, long stretches of time where they just weren't good. Me and Dan are going to have very similar stories because we're twins, but both of our parents grew up in Queens. My dad's dad was a huge Brooklyn Dodger fan and basically raised my dad to hate the Yankees at all costs. So my parents kind of let us decide what we wanted to do, but at the end of the day, me and Dan became Met fans. Our first baseball game ever was a Subway Series game in 2004 at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. And all the Yankee fans are just steak heads. So,
Hell yeah.
Hideki Matsui hit a grand slam against Steve Traxel, and there's a dude in a ponytail sitting in front of us, and he was just being an ass. Yeah, we just hated the Yankees ever since then. And then, A-Rod and Jeter, just really easy to hate. But yeah, we grew up loving D. Wright and Jose, and that was a good 06, 07 team. But yeah, kind of carried us into that. Dan?
Honestly, like, we all must have like been murderers in our past life, like, and this is our punishment. I swear. I mean, growing up, like, we were all born 96, 97. This was like the height of the Yankee dynasty. Jeter, Bernie, Posada, all that. So they like own the city, right? Everyone and their brother's a Yankee fan. Like, elementary school was rough, like being the only Met fan in the school. So from an early age, like, I feel like we all kind of had the like, Yankees are the evil empire type shtick. Like Max was saying, like, my earliest memory of a baseball game was like the least fond one you could possibly think of. Like, Matsui shot like a bomb over the right field fence, like, in typical fashion. Yankees fans are going crazy. I like 6 or 7 years old, like, turn around in my seat, start crying, and this like raspy voice like goes like, "Hey kid, turn around, get used to it. This is what life is like being a Mets fan." And like, dude, if that was like not like the best life lesson I've ever gotten, like, I don't know what it is. It was foreshadowing for like the next, 15, 20 years of my life.
I'll tell you what, too, there are so many times where it sucks to be a Met fan, and I would rather be a Yankee fan at points, but how sweet is it when like we finally beat them? Those like blissful moments where it's like we're the king.
King in the castle, king in the castle.
And like, we have few and far between, but like, thinking just back on like the fandom is, like Santana's no-hitter, the 06 team, having like what they have, like 5 or 6 all-stars in 06.
Yeah.
Matt Harvey's glory days, the World Series team, obviously winning that pennant, and just kind of taking over the town for 2015. I mean, like, we don't have too many of these moments throughout our fandom, but like when they happen, it's like, it is the best feeling in the world. And I don't think I would trade it for anything.
It makes it that much sweeter, for sure.
Yeah.
I just gotta say, Dan, your story about the guy with the ponytail, like, just giving it to you straightforward how it's gonna be. It reminds me of like major leaguers when they get interviewed and they'll be like asked the question, "What was your welcome to the big leagues moment?" And it's like, "Oh, like when I faced Albert Pujols and I was like, this guy's the guy I used to watch on TV." That was your welcome to Mets fandom moment. It was like,
sure.
That's where
1,000%. And it spiraled into everything else. It led to like the last day at Shea where me and Max were in the park and like Scott Schoenweiss blew the game. And like when all three of us were in the ballpark for game 4 of the World Series, Murphy let the ball go under his gloves.
Jeez.
And like we blew another lead. Jeez. So
yeah, dude, a lot of bad feelings, but there's a new era of Mets baseball. Uncle Stevie's in the town, and yeah.
Yeah, we're excited to usher in this new era of Mets baseball.
Yeah, got us hyped enough to do this. So
Yeah. All right, so I gotta bring this up. So this is literally the first episode of our podcast, and before we even recorded the first episode, we already got TikTok famous and got into a full out TikTok war with the Kansas City Royals fan base. So Max, I believe you were the one that actually posted it, right?
dude,
So give me the lowdown of what happened.
yeah, so basically made like a social media campaign for myself called Poop and Post. So just think about yeah, whatever. Whenever, I was on the bowl basically this morning, and I thought of, like, how badass was it when Thor threw at Escobar's head in the World Series? Like that was like one of my favorite moments as a Met fan, because it was so damn cool. But yeah, basically was an act of war on the Kansas City Royal fan base apparently. So yeah, I mean, honestly, like, I didn't mean to insult anybody. But like the truth is, with like the Wilpon era, it's like we're only looking for small victories. So Noah being such a total badass was like kind of a win in my mind. And I know every Royal fan was like, who won the series and all that. That was just like a win in my book. So, but yeah, it's still coming in. It's still like.
Yeah, what do we got for updated numbers as far as like likes and views? Because it was shocking to me.
We got over 33,000 views. We got 2,600 likes, and then 50 comments of just basically Royal fans going. I mean, the Royal fan like came out of hibernation for this because like I literally haven't heard a peep about the Royals in like 5 or 6 years, like literally since they made the World Series. I mean, it was insane how like just sensitive they were to that, but no, I like the banter. It's good. You know what? I'm gonna do it more because it was fun.
Yeah. Oh, keep adding fuel to the fire. What were you thinking, Dan? I know you were saying that your younger sister was upset because she's been trying to get TikTok famous.
Well, I just think it's unreal how little we tried to do that, and like it'd be one thing if it was like the Yankee fan base or the Dodger fan base, right? Like a big fan base, the Red Sox. Like this is like a team like I doubt they had like 500 people at their ticker tape parade. Like, dude, I don't know. The whole time I'm like reading this, I'm like, thank God I'm not like a Royals fan, because like I don't know, that would mean like I live in like the middle of nowhere, and like I'm checking TikTok and I get triggered anytime like a Met fan like brings up like Mike Moustakas, who is like apparently they're David Wright. Listen, I get it. I get why they were upset, but like, dude, like you won, like, like yeah. we know.
Dude, that strikeout pitch from Syndergaard was just straight gas though, and the way Moustakas looked after that, I mean, he wanted Escobar to take him deep so bad, and Escobar just he couldn't touch that pitch.
Crowd went nuts.
I just thought that was an electric moment. That was so sick. Yeah. Anyway, I mean, I was just thinking about like moments to share, and I was like, that was one that came to mind, and yeah, literally never thought it was gonna spiral like that.
I feel like both sides. I feel like the Royals fans should be able to see, like, take a step back and just realize, like, that's a cool moment. I
mean, like, I wasn't like, I'm not like naive. Like, I know they won the series. I'm not gonna pretend they didn't win the series, but
yeah.
I mean, and let's be real. I mean, everyone kept saying that Harvey start. If that had gone a little differently and the Mets pulled out Game 5, they were throwing Syndergaard and DeGrom in 6 and 7. And I remember thinking, like, if we grab this one, like, we got a chance to win this series. And if it wasn't, for like Tyler Clippard only sucking when he was in a Met uniform, and like Jerry's Familia, who was like untouchable that whole season, like blowing some games in that World Series. I mean, they could have won that series. So I'm not gonna back down from a bunch of Royal fans, I mean,
yeah,
no way.
All 16 of them.
I'll end it with this though. Like, if you haven't seen the video yet, like, go take a look, throw a comment on there. If you're a Met fan, shoot it a like, defend your team, right? Like,
yeah, we need some reinforcements.
Like, I'm seeing all these Royal fans. Like, let's hear from the Met fans a little bit.
Yeah, let's go.
So check us out on social. Let's see. I guess I'll let that kind of like get us into this day in Mets history. So May 23rd, 2011 was the infamous Fred Wilpon comments. So a lot of people probably don't remember this, but the New Yorker had a report back in 2011, this time of year, where Fred Wilpon had some very candid comments regarding his star players, right? So Jose Reyes, Carlos Beltran, David Wright in particular were singled out. Wilpon mentioned Jose Reyes and Carlos Beltran's injury history as the reason that they were not quote unquote superstars, and called David Wright a nice kid, but not a superstar.
It's crazy.
So typical.
It just shows you how little the Wilpons actually knew about running a baseball team. That this dude is like probably the second best player in franchise history, and they go that route and say that he's not a superstar. This is after they paid him too. Like, if you don't, I mean, you're gonna give all that money to a guy who you don't think is a superstar. I mean, just ridiculous. Whatever.
I just gotta say though, like, if we were, it was 2011, you said, so this would be the 10-year anniversary of it. If we were looking at that on May 23rd of last year, or let's even say 2019, because I think around this time last year, we already kind of knew that the team was going to be sold, or it might have even already happened. I can't really remember. Yeah. But if we were looking at this day in history one in 2018 and they still ran the team, I would feel so much more angry. But now that they're gone and I see this, I can like almost laugh about it. I'm like, look at how dumb they were. I'm like, we're in so much better shape now. Like,
it's only funny because they're gone.
Yeah.
Like, it is such a joke when and you know what? You know whose fault it is that they didn't win with that freaking team? It's theirs, because like they just missed their window. They had some of the best talent in the league, and they were toe for toe with the best teams in the league at that point, and they just missed their window. It was, yeah. So anyway, that I could go on all day about that with on Jeff Wilpon, but
definitely an easier quote to swallow though now that they're gone, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
No doubt.
All right, so we definitely want to get into how this week went in Mets land as far as the games and just different news headlines from that. But before we do that, let's just do some quick hitters around the league outside of Mets world. Let's everybody open up, get out from under your rock. We got to learn a little bit about everybody else, okay? Because we're gonna face most of these teams. We gotta know what's coming, but not in an Astros type way. Just Okay, so this week we've got the second straight week with 2 no-hitters. This week we got Spencer Turnbull and Corey Kluber. I gotta so we gotta put in the DeMarcus Cousins. Like it's getting ridiculous.
I hope the world can see now what's really going on out here, because it's getting ridiculous.
Because it's really getting ridiculous. Spencer Turnbull throwing a no-hitter? Come on, dude. Corey Kluber, I can get it. But
Corey Kluber also couldn't throw 4 innings 2 weeks ago. So.
Yeah, true. But like in a vacuum, if I heard that Corey Kluber threw a no-hitter this year, I'd be like, okay, like he has stuff. But Spencer Turnbull?
Listen,
this is getting stupid.
Max likes to throw his Yankee hater hat on a lot, and so do I. But you gotta tip your cap to Corey Kluber on this one. Mm-hmm. He had 102 pitches and a no-hitter. Like, that doesn't happen anymore.
I know. It's
never seen it. His stuff was amazing, and I don't care who he was playing. I wanted to get your thoughts on one thing regarding the no-hitters. A big topic on sports radio recently has been whether the Yankees broadcasting crew, John Sterling, Michael Kay, blew the call. Just wanted to get your thoughts on that. Did you guys think anything of it?
I didn't hear Sterling's call. But I heard Michael Kay's, and I thought it was fine. Thought his level of excitement was fine. That was the first Yankee no-hitter since David Cone, right?
Yeah, crazy.
That's hard to believe. It just highlights how bad their pitching has been the last 20 years. But yeah, I didn't hear Sterling.
I mean, my take on it is thought it was fine. A lot of people were upset about it, because they want the call to be iconic, right? But you also have to walk that line between when you're broadcasting, right? Like, you don't want to steal the moment. You want to let the moment talk for itself, right? You don't want to overdo it, right? So I think Michael Kay did his best. He wasn't even in the ballpark. That's a whole nother thing.
I don't love people who get hot and bothered about calls.
Me too.
I think the best calls are the ones that happen organically, and it's if the emotion just isn't quite there, like Dan just said, let the moment speak for itself. But people who waste their time calling up the radio the next day saying the call wasn't good enough, get a life. Come on.
Yeah, imagine waiting on hold for 40 minutes just to go get on the line and say the no-hitter call sucked.
Come
dude.
on. Just find something better to do. I don't know. Yeah.
Jake, what else we got?
Yeah. So we went a little bit on a rant there, but okay. So the next thing, this one we'll probably end up talking a couple minutes on too, because there's a lot to unpack. But
something to say about this, yeah.
Yeah, the Yermin Mercedes White Sox situation. So for those who don't know, Yermin Mercedes steps up to the plate. They're shellacking the Twins. Williams Astudillo, what is it? La Tortuga? That's his nickname, right? He's on the mound, throwing just absolute lollipops for under 50 miles an hour, 46 miles an hour. Gets behind on a 3-0 count. Mercedes takes a hack at the 3-0 pitch and just hits a bomb, rounds the bases, goes in the dugout. Everyone's upset about it on the Twins. They hit him, or they try to hit him the next game. Pitcher throws behind him, though. And throughout this whole thing, you see guys on the White Sox like Lance Lynn, Tim Anderson saying, "Do you, Mercedes? You know, we love the way you play. Keep playing this way." And the guy that's supposed to have his back the most, the manager, the guy who's been out of baseball for 10 years, and people were like, "I don't know if he can connect with the younger generation." Tony La Russa says he did the wrong thing. Mercedes should not be swinging 3-0. And basically, without outright saying it, said that he deserved to get hit, basically.
Yeah, I hated this from Tony La Russa, Hall of Fame manager, brilliant baseball guy from everything that I've heard. But yeah, this is where you got to just shut your mouth. And this is where, like, I mean, you get a little insight into like the dynamic between the modern day player and the old school manager in this situation. And I think, you know, I had to steer it back into Mets land a little bit, but like I thought about Luis Rojas, and sure, like he hadn't done like a great job in game managing, but everything you hear about this dude is that he's one of the best communicators. His players love him, and he keeps his locker room together. And I think what Tony La Russa did this week was just kind of divisive, and it wasn't exactly like a fair thing to do to his player. And like that, you know, that's something you keep in house if you're a manager. That's all I have to say about that. It's like, if you have something like that to say about one of your own players, you don't say it to the media. You speak to him privately, and you don't let it get outside your locker room, because I just think that creates controversy. Like it has, you know, it's kind of spiraled away from him a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah. No, you guys hit the nail on the head. So we could jump into the next topic.
Yeah. So a couple days ago, the Tampa Bay Rays, who we just played in a 3-game series, trade their shortstop, Willie Adames, who kind of killed us in that series, made a couple nice plays. I think he had a home run too. And starting pitcher Trevor Richards to the Brewers for 2 relievers. So when this happened, I don't know, I'm pretty sure you guys are probably thinking the same thing as me, that, okay, this is clearly Wander Franco time. Oh, yeah. And he does not get called up. It becomes Taylor Wall's time, who, until you wrote this in the doc here, I had never heard of, by the way.
Yeah, well, so I thought the same thing as you, because I'm a big Wander Franco guy. I have a few baseball cards, like heavily invested in the guy. I was like super hyped. So I read the Rays are shockingly very deep at shortstop. They literally have 3 guys on their AAA roster that are MLB ready, including Wander Franco, Taylor Walls, and this Vidal Brujan type guy. Taylor Walls, apparently a stout defender, big league ready offensively. So they gave him the call first for one reason or another. But yeah, I mean, you're going to look back on this trade, I'm sure, in a year or two, and you're going to realize that the Rays fleeced the Brewers, because that seemingly always happens with the Rays. But yeah, this is a big milestone trade for the Rays, and you know, we'll see. This hopefully puts an exciting player in Franco a little bit closer to the show.
I just gotta say one last thing about this. I just think it's funny from the Brewers' perspective, because in the offseason, or it may have even been in spring training, they traded away Orlando Arcia, their shortstop, to, I believe, was it the Braves? Did the Braves get him? I think it was the Braves.
I don't know.
But they traded away their shortstop, who is literally a carbon copy of Adames. Like, it's the same exact player. There's like big strikeout, low average, has some pop, and can field pretty well. So they traded, and they're like almost the same age as well. So they just got rid of him and then brought in the same exact guy. It's just weird to me from the Brewers' perspective. All right, and then lastly, this just happened today, I believe. D. Gordon gets released by the Brewers, and
go get him.
Yeah, Max, I was going to say, what, give me a little bit on this one.
It's not going to be a major move by any means. It's going to be, but again, it's like the Mets just need players at this point. They need bodies. He plays infield. He plays outfield. He's got some speed. He's not even close to the player he used to be, but go get him. I mean, the Mets just need big leaguers, so do it. What do we got? Review of the games from this week. So back into Mets conversation. Tough loss today. But you know what? I was looking back at the schedule and just thinking about this week. Took 2 out of 3 in Atlanta. Their one loss was, a tough game where, Acuna hit that walk-off home run. So they sent that to extra innings. The loss yesterday, freaking Garrett Cooper just kicking our ass this weekend. He had that walk-off. But you know what? I mean, overall, they come out 3-3 from this week after the Tampa Bay sweep. And what have we been saying? It's like their focus should be winning series. Their focus should be kind of keeping their head above water until they get their players back. And just listen to the broadcast today. You just to keep in perspective how little they have. 7 of their 9 opening day starters out. 16 guys on the disabled list right now, and that's they were missing Lugo, Carrasco, Syndergaard the whole season so far. Anyway, they're sitting 21-19 at top of the NL East still, game and a half above Atlanta, who is a game above or under 500. And they got some series coming up that are pretty winnable. So they play Colorado for 4 at home starting tomorrow night. Jake is back on the bump on Tuesday.
Off the dome thought
Do
right
it.
here. I have a lot more respect for Luis Rojas after this stretch.
Sure.
I'm relatively hard on managers. I admit that. I've kind of been on the fence about Luis Rojas. I felt he's done some good things, some bad things, but this stretch has told me a lot about Luis Rojas. The fact that they're battling in every game, like Max said, they're 3-3, but all 3 of those losses, other than today, I guess, were pretty winnable games, right? They had the Marlins on the ropes, the Braves they lost on a walk-off. So it's kind of like one of those things. Like these guys, like it's an unrecognizable lineup, but they're playing hard for their manager, and I kind of dig it. So
They have
Luis Rojas.
They have no business being in these games right now. And you were just saying how great of a job Rojas has done, and this is an unpopular opinion, I think, and people are relatively hard on managers all the time. But when you're talking about, look at the bullpen, the work that they've had to do. The Mets have named 2 starters, and then the rest of the week is I don't really know. We're going with an opener, and we're gonna have to manage it, and you're kind of banking on guys to do their job. And huge credit to Rojas, guys like Robert Gesellman, guys like Sean Reed-Foley. Reed-Foley's been clutch. You're getting guys who are just pitching big innings, and we saw the other day, Juris Familia. Holy cow, let's give him some credit here because he's been a guy that every Met fan's been hard on, the last couple of years since they brought him back, but he's been outstanding this year. So guys getting big outs, bullpen's giving you huge innings. It's going to have to change at some point. But anyway, before I let Jake kind of chime in here, they got 4 against Colorado, 3 against Atlanta over the weekend, and then the last place Diamondbacks for 3 in Arizona. But Arizona and Colorado both at the bottom of the NL West, chasing teams that they're, the Giants, the Dodgers, and the Padres are going to be 3 of the best teams in the league, I think. So they've got, tough season ahead of them. But so they got winnable games, and I think they got to come out of here 500 if they want to, look good.
Yeah, this is all the games are winnable, but it's definitely a really important homestand and kind of dictates how the rest of the season will go. Obviously we're getting Jake back, but hopefully we can get at least one other guy, whether pitching or on offense, back and on the field before we get back to Atlanta, because it seems like they're really heating up, and that scares me a bit.
Yeah, and it's tough. You're looking at guys who are supposed to be kind of coming back soon, and JD Davis, another setback yesterday in his rehab game. Brendan Nimmo's had some trouble getting that finger to where he wants it. So it's like guys who are coming or supposed to be right there are just having these setbacks right before they come. And hopefully Syndergaard doesn't have anything, and Carrasco had a little setback. It's been a hard year for them. And like Dan said, credit to Rojas here for keeping this group together. But
I want to mention one thing about Rojas too. So same as you guys, I was kind of meh on Rojas. I was give him the time. Let's see what he could do. But now seeing that what he's done with not that much given to him, with basically minor league players surrounded by a couple major leaguers, it's really impressive. The one thing I want to say that has bothered me a bit is I feel like he could be managing the bullpen a little bit better. And what I mean by that is, for example, on Saturday, Luke Casey, who we've been praying for us to go a little bit deeper into games, pitches 4 innings, gives up 1 hit, and was only at 40, 50 pitches, and they yanked him. And then the thing I don't get is we already know at this point that there's going to be at least 2 games a week where it's a bullpen game from the jump. So when you're getting pitchers to give you more than they usually do, we should be running with that.
And sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, there's been a couple weird situations that I'm like, why is he bringing him out, or why is he letting him go this long, that we've just barely escaped. And so I don't think it's been that big of like a headline because we've gotten out of most of the jams, but it can very easily just switch to like we're losing all those close games
Sure.
where it's like, why is he leaving him in?
I had a similar feeling with Stroman's decision to take out Stroman on Friday because Castro gave up that home run. It wasn't just a hindsight thing. It was like when you're making your bullpen work that hard and throw that many innings, I think like Stroman is a guy, like a veteran, you got to lean on. He's at 89 pitches. Make him get through that inning. Dan, you had a quick note on JD Davis?
Yeah, just read JD Davis has been and will be taking reps at first base in AAA for the remainder of his rehab stint, and they anticipate him playing first base when he gets back. So just an interesting tidbit in this makeshift Mets lineup.
You wonder if they are using the rehab stint as an opportunity to, again, teach him some more positions because they like VR's bat so much in the lineup and they like the possibility of having him at third base, and, versatility is good.
I wonder what that means as far as how long they think Alonso's going to be out.
I hope it's not a while. I mean, they have Dom who could play first, but they don't have outfielders either. So, and I don't think they want to mess with Dom too much because I heard a couple weeks ago that he was statistically the Mets' best defensive player, which is obviously it's just stats. It's not like the true reality of the situation, but statistically, he has played the best defense of anyone on the team right now, which is mind blowing. All right, I want to go around the horn here real quick. Start off with the Cameron Maybin acquisition, former Yankee who really supplied them with a lot of offense. I think he's 0 for 14 to start his Mets career. So already think he's showing he's not living up to his money, a $1 contract or whatever the $1 trade. He's not living up to his money. He hasn't even gotten a hit. Any comments on that move? It wasn't a huge acquisition, just kind of one of your typical May moves, but
just DMC, dollar menu Cam.
Dan, anything?
Yeah, that's kind of what it's going to be. I mean, I heard a stat on the broadcast. Howie Rose mentioned that our corner outfielders, Khalil Lee and Cameron Maybin, have had 30 at bats, and has been 1 hit between all of them and 17 strikeouts. So,
hey, Lee's hit was a huge one, and
it was so nice.
He's played some good defense out there too, but I mean, he's clearly raw. He's clearly not a big leaguer yet, but I do like what you kind of see with him a little bit. Like there's some upside there for sure. Yeah. This week, Taijuan Walker, Kevin Pillar, obviously, and unfortunately hits the disabled list. Pete Alonso with the wrist. Tommy Hunter, after his big night with the bat, headed to the IL. Any comments on that, boys?
Just like, at this point, it's like you're just numb to it. It's like every week we're gonna have a handful of guys that are going on the IL, but hopefully now it's been enough weeks in a row that maybe some of the earlier guys can start coming off the IL, and just giving us the needed help, because it's really insane how we're winning any games with the roster that we have right now.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those things like Jake said, you kind of expect it at this point, almost like it feels like it's an injury every game. Hopefully there are no more serious ones. On a more optimistic note, Jacob deGrom's returning on Tuesday, and he was hitting 101.9 on the radar gun. So, back to being Jake. Noah Syndergaard, who it's been 598 days since he's last had a major league start, which is crazy. But during his rehab, 4 scoreless, 1 hit, 5 strikeouts. So, the thought of going into the postseason with a rotation, assuming they're healthy, as strong as ours, is very encouraging.
Dude, and we haven't even seen Carlos Carrasco yet. I just wanted to read deGrom's line from St. Lucie just because I think it's hilarious. This dude, generational talent. Even though he's facing, minor leaguers, 3 innings pitched, 8 strikeouts in those 3 innings, no runs, no hits, no walks, 41 pitches, 30 strikes. He's ridiculous. And a nice little gesture by him wearing the number 11 for Kevin Pillar in that game. He also bought Chick-fil-A for the entire team, which
That's
I
awesome.
Cool too. So cool stuff down there in Florida.
Max, I wanted to dive into
Yeah,
a quick trivia question for you boys.
do it. Hit it.
In 2008, when Shea Stadium closed, they were playing the Florida Marlins at the time. Can you name the outfielder of the Florida Marlins that caught the final out of the game?
I know this actually.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Only because I heard it last night on the broadcast.
Yeah.
Bummer. All right, we'll throw it out there.
Overpaid Maben, the doggy.
Dollar menu Cam, baby. Run DMC.
I remember, dude, we were so young when we were in the stands for that game. But I thought Church had that ball. And just how different things could have been if Ryan Church had hit that ball out of here and like the Mets had gone to the playoffs that year. Just makes you wonder. I don't know.
I just gotta say two things. One, that for sure would have been a stumper if I hadn't heard it last night. I would have had no clue. Second thing is, so you guys went to that game. Did you go to the Santana game?
No, we weren't there.
Okay. So I went to the game before the Santana game, which they lost in embarrassing fashion. And you guys went to the game after the Santana game. So, I mean, it's a match made in heaven that we only went to the losses and we missed the great win.
I said, in our previous life, we must have killed somebody because
it's torture. It really is. And then I mean, my dad, it bothers my dad to this day, but like how they had the ceremony to close the stadium, like after that loss. And it was just like tears were rolling down every Met fan's face because it was like the misery of losing that game and blowing a second consecutive playoff berth, and then the pain of closing the stadium, obviously. But all right, let's go bet of the day, and then we'll talk a little bit about Francisco Lindor to wrap it up. But no lines out for Tuesday, but DeGrom's pitching. They're facing a really bad Colorado team in New York, not in Colorado. Pay attention to the underline in that game. So I don't know what it's set at. Vegas might put it low, but I still think no matter how low it gets, it's going to be a low scoring game because the Mets are not throwing out too many firepower bats in this month, really. So yeah, any comments on that, boys?
Jake's Jake.
Yeah, he's gonna shut those guys down.
The over under could be set at 1.5, and it'll probably end up being a 1-0 game.
I'm gonna say, I'm like, there's just not gonna be scoring in this one. So, like, you know what, and you know what, if the Mets come out swinging, like, you'll be happy that just don't put a lot of money down. you hedge your losses there. So, the Mets win or you win money, unless the Rockies win like 1-0, because the Mets have been known to do that before. But anyway, that's our bet of the day. Give you confidence with that one. All right. I've been thinking about this a little bit more lately. I'm sure you guys have too. And I'm sure maybe one of you or both of you have been thinking it a lot longer than I have. But are we worried about Francisco Lindor yet? Were you already freaking out? More recently, I've been freaking out just because, slow starts happen, especially when you're getting used to a new division, a new league, everything that comes along with that, and moving your family to a new city and the pressure of a contract. But it's almost June, and I'm nervous about Lindor. And he needs to be the guy who steps up here while everyone's out. So far away with this one. What do you think?
What do you got then?
I mean, yeah, if we're being honest, like he's got to be better. That's just a fact. And I wish I knew enough about baseball mechanics to know how close he was to getting right. I'm not jumping overboard and saying like his past 2 years are what he's going to be for the rest of his career. I'm not there yet. But I mean, as Mets fans, we're conditioned to feel like we're going to be burned, right? All these signings that we've had that we've been burnt on. I feel like that's kind of like where we go right away. I still think he's a terrific player. He still plays tremendous defense. I do feel like even though he hasn't done enough with the bat, he finds ways to get on base. I can't tell you how many times he's scored or created something by trying to steal. The other night, what was it? It was supposed to be a sac fly. He was trying to get over to third, right? Is that what it was?
Yeah, something like that. It's tough because you could see it. You could see that Cleveland Lindor. It's really frustrating. I have some stats I want to share. Jake, you want to share your thoughts first, though?
Yeah, so on Lindor, I'm sort of more on the same opinion as Dan, where I'm not like completely like over the top worried. I think he's done a good job contributing where he can when he knows that he's not contributing as much to the bat, and he's also like he's slowly and but surely gotten a little bit better with the bat, and I'm hoping that it just continues to go that way. The other thing that has sort of brought me back down to earth with his offensive numbers is when I'm looking at when we were healthy, all the rest of our starting lineup that was supposed to be the strength of our team, other than one or two of them, they all were really struggling. And I know like Lindor was on another level struggling, but I think at this point he's bringing it up a little bit. If he had started the season the way that he's playing now, I don't think we would have had like a crazy reaction to it if he was playing this way the whole way through. So I'm not that worried about it. And like Dan said, I love the defense, the hustle, and the base running that he brings us. So at least he's doing something to contribute, especially when there's so many guys that can do nothing right now and are injured.
Yeah, I mean, it's not these aren't like our expectations for him. Like, it's great that he plays hard and he's clearly a leader and stuff. But I mean, people who are saying like this contract's a bust are crazy. But I think every Met fan has a right to be disappointed with how he's played so far. This is just team stats. It's not him, but I think it's pretty indicative of how he's played in general. The Mets have the lowest slugging percentage in the league, 343. And then they have less extra base hits than teams like the Tigers and the Pirates, who are clearly at the bottom of the league in terms of just good offensive teams. So they're just struggling to make hard contact. And I think that's like, he just doesn't look like he's, hitting balls hard, which, it feels like every time he gets up, he strikes out or he grounds out, and it's really frustrating. But any thoughts before we wrap this up?
Excited for these games next week.
Beers?
Well, I finished mine.
The beers? Oh, dude, I'm almost there. That's it. Really, you got to finish it before the show goes.
Oh, and I guess one other thing I wanted to bring up. So I know it's only episode 1, but I already have a special guest for the podcast here that I brought with me.
Oh,
it is
a surprise guest.
Cardboard Me, who sat in right field for 2020. You see, he got kind of punched with the zip ties. This is where he got.
Oh man.
But
dude,
yeah,
I didn't even know you got one of those.
Yeah, he was stationed in right field the whole year. Hopefully he got hit in the face with a ball. I don't know, but I didn't see it, but hopefully he did.
What piece of history you got there, bud?
That's pretty sweet.
It's cool.
That's pretty sweet. Real quick before we sign off, predictions for this week. So we got 4 against Colorado, 3 against Atlanta. How are we feeling about this? You could just say records. You could predict the series, do whatever you want, but I want to hear what you think.
I think it's going to be a little more of the same, unfortunately. I know we want a little bit better as fans, but realistically, I think hovering around 500 with this team is very good, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I would say we're going to hover around 500 during this week.
I was going to say 4-3. I don't know where those games are going to get split up, but I think 4-3 at the end of the week.
I'm going to be a little more optimistic. If we can take 3 out of 4 in Colorado, and then actually forget it. We're probably no. If we can take 3 out of 4 in Colorado and then just win the series, we'll take. I'm sure there's going to be a loss to the Braves, but no, we're gonna come away with 2 against the Braves as well.
Well, so we'll get DeGrom in one of those starts over the weekend, right? If he pitches Tuesday.
Yep.
Because it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday against Colorado. So they play all week. They don't have off days. Is that right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Dude, they better get
some. Feels like a first. I feel like we have had off days.
I know
more times than that.
And I'll tell you
played any games.
They need to get some freaking length out of their starting pitching because this bullpen has been worked. And if we're playing 7 in a row, and we got like Atlanta, like this rotation better show up against Colorado. That's all I'm saying. So, or else they're in some shit with Atlanta this weekend. But
I'm feeling a newfound spike in energy now that we're back at home and on the homestand. I think that'll help.
Yeah. Good first episode. Let's
Put it in the books.
Put it in the books, baby.
Take care.